When completing a long climb, one first experiences dizziness, disorientation, and soreness of a back due to the high altitude. But once you become accustomed to the climb, your mind opens up to the tranquility of the triumphs. Oftentimes, the mind is flooded with realizations that are for some reason harder to come to when you are at a lower elevation. At this moment, most of you need some realizations because right now you have some big decisions to make. Right now, I urge you, in your breath, in your eyes, in your consciousness, invest in the importance of this moment and cherish it. I know some of you made a party last night. You should celebrate with this moment is also part of the celebration. So savor the taste of your triumphs today. Don't just swallow the moment whole without digesting what has actually happened here. Look down over what you conquered and appreciate what God has brought you through. Some of you here struggled against the university itself. This year, students protested and took away the A building, formulated a list of demands and negotiated with our president and administration to determine the direction of our institution. It's impressive. Similarly, during my years at Howard, we also protested and took away the A building in order to preserve Howard's alum, in order to preserve Howard's annual appropriations from Congress. President H. Patrick Swigert decided to reduce the number of colleges at the university. By his plan, engineering would need to merge with architecture, nursing would merge with allied health, and the fine arts, my school, would be absorbed by the arts and science. That's how we saw it, observed. For many of us in fine arts, this signaled to us that our curriculums, or the curriculums of students following us, might become watered down concentrations. This undermined the very legacy we are proud to be a part of and aim to continue. The fine arts program had produced Felicia Richard, Debbie Allen, Isaiah Washington, Richard Wesley, Donny Hathaway, Roberta Flack, just to name a few. We felt that, yes, we could go on and on. We felt that we could compete with students from Juilliard, NYU, and Carroll Arts as long as we continued to have a concentrated dosage that rivaled our conservatory experience. But without it, although we took over the A building for several days and presented our arguments to President Swigert and the administration, the school was still merged. Thus, the current correction or formation of schools exists. That's why I view your recent protest is such an accomplishment for both sides of the debate, students and administration. I didn't come here to take sides. My interest is what's best for the school. A Howard University education is not just about what happens in the classroom, students. In some ways, what you are able to do exemplifies some of the skills you learned in the classroom. It takes the education out of the realm of the theory and into utility and practice. Obviously, your organization skills were unprecedented. I'm told that you are organized shifts so that you could at least continue some of your class. We missed all our classes. We were in A building. I'm told that due to donations, there was always an ample helping of food. I probably ate a slice of pizza during the entirety of our 3-day protest. Your organization and planning was impeccable. You received the majority of your demands, making a significant impact on those who came after you. As is often the case, those that follow must often enjoy the result of the progress you gained. You love the university enough to struggle with it. Now, I have to ask you that you have to continue to do that. Even now that you received your demands, even if you are working today, you have to continue to do that. Everything that you fought for was not for yourself. It was for those that came after. You could have been disgruntled and transferred, but you fought to be participant in making this institution the best that it can be. But I must also applaud President Wayne Frederick and the administration for listening to the students. Your freedom of speech was exercised in a way where you can contribute to this place. It also shows that you can contribute to the democracy. The administration and the campus place at the time when I was protesting were not nearly as open-minded as this current one. I know this was a difficult time, but because both of you, I believe Howard is a few steps closer to the actualization of his potential, the potential that many of us has dreamed for it. Students, your protests are also promising, because many of you will leave Howard and enter systems and institutions that have a history of discrimination and marginalization. The fact that you have struggled with this university that you love is a sign that you can use your education to improve the world that you are entering. I was on a roll when I entered the system of entertainment, theater, television, and film. In my first New York audition for a professional play, I landed the lead role. From the play, I got my first agent. From that agent, I got an on-screen audition. It was a soap opera. It wasn't third watch. It was a soap opera on a major network. I scored the role too. I felt like Mike Tyson when he first came up on the scene, knocking out opponents in the first round. With this soap opera gig, I was already promised to make 6 figures, more money than I had ever seen. I was feeling myself, but once I got the first script and was saw problems. You very often get a script the night before and then you shoot the whole episode in one day, with little to no time to prepare. Once I saw the role I was playing, I found myself conflicted. The role wasn't necessarily stereotypical. A young man in his formative years with a violent streak pulled into the allure of gang involvement. That's somebody's real story. Never judge the characters you play. That's what we were always taught. That's the first rule of acting. Any role played honestly can be empowering. But I was conflicted because this role seemed to be wrapped up in assumptions about us as black folk. This writing failed to search for specificity. Plus, there was barely a glimpse of positivity or talent in the character, barely a glimpse of hope. I would have to make something out of nothing. I was conflicted. Howard has instilled me a certain amount of pride, and for my taste, this role didn't live up to those standards.